Welcome. I'm Patrick Sullivan with the EIC Sustainability and Social Impact Committee. I'm joined today by two people from George P. Johnson, Kristen Anderson and Sarah Jackson. Today, we're going to talk about the case study of Workday Rising. So Kristen, Sarah, welcome. Happy to have you here. First off, just wanted to say congratulations on achieving gold certification with the Sustainable Event Standard. So congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. We're happy to be here.
Yeah, of course. So maybe if you want to start, why don't we just give a brief overview of the Workday Rising event and how you came to the decision to really bring sustainable event standards into the journey as you think about certification.
Totally. I'm pretty new to the Workday Rising program, but since I've joined, sustainability has been a forefront of their program, something that is always top of mind and that they're incorporating not just as a budget item or anything like that. It's something that they're doing throughout all of their practices and considering in basically every work stream that they're working in to create these events. So it's really exciting to be able to join a program that is already so passionate about it and I get to learn from. And I know that this has been a long-standing goal of Workday's, and Sarah has been on the account, so I'm sure she has a lot more to say about the history and kind of development of that.
Yeah, I think just to kind of piggyback on what Kristen had said, it has definitely been a core part of the Workday Rising program for the last several years. This last year, we were looking to put a way to kind of validate the work that we had been doing. And really, when we found the EIC standards, it really excited us. We liked the idea of there being like a third-party auditor who was, a neutral person coming in and looking at the program. And we were really looking at this as our opportunity to validate and kind of not just say we're doing it, but really prove that we're doing it.
Yeah, I love that. Look, I mean, there's so much that we can do, as far as doing the right thing, but being able to validate it is so important today, and being able to prove the work that you're doing and being able to put that into practical application is just fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah. So how about any takeaways as you went through this journey, after making the decision, hey, we're going to certify this event, anything that was a takeaway as you went through the process that you can share?
I would say that going through all of those standards, that really was a great learning experience. I was able to learn so much about the different interactions between like the work streams and everything going on throughout the planning process, and also really what those underlying impacts are on not just our community and our environment, but also the social impacts and, how much money we're bringing to a certain location or a destination. So that was something that really kind of stuck with me, and partnering with those local suppliers and things like that, and the emphasis on the social side of sustainability. It's not just all about going green, which going green is great, but it's also about creating that community and giving back to where you're participating in.
Yeah, and I would say like one of the highlights for me is, I've been on this account for several years, and I've been leading up the sustainability initiative for that time. And it was great, like when we introduced the standards to our larger team, a majority of them, this was their first time learning about the standards. And when we went over, there's a lot of standards. When we went over them with the team, to some people, it seemed overwhelming. But then there were some work streams and some people on the team who were looking at the standards, and it'd be a standard that maybe Kristen and I thought like, okay, this isn't one that we're going to focus on this year. We're not quite ready to say that we've achieved this standard. But then we had work stream leads who were like, oh yeah, we're doing that. We've been doing that. And so it was really like a neat opportunity for us to kind of learn some new things about our own program that we didn't even know were taking place. So I thought that was kind of a fun part of the journey.
Yeah, and kind of on that note, it was definitely like when we did our first submission of all the documents and everything, and then they came back and they were like, so yeah, you guys are way past your goal. Like you probably could get a little bit further too. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And that was definitely a big highlight for me too. And I was like, okay, it's all coming to fruition. And this is really awesome to see that all of our hard work that we've been doing, not just myself, but the team has been doing in the past years too. It's all coming full circle and we actually get to see our progress now too, which is really cool.
That's great. So when you say that you were ahead, it sounds like you were able to reframe some of the already great things you were doing with this event. Was there anything that maybe came up that you hadn't thought of previously that was an aha moment for both of you or one of you?
Hmm. I would
I guess
say, oh, sorry, continue, Sarah.
I was just gonna say, like the when we originally said that we were gonna do this, we had set the goal to achieve the bronze level. And we came up with the bronze level by looking at the standards and we created what we called our pre-test. And we went through it and we're like, yes, we're here. No, we're not here. Maybe we could get here. Like we kind of bucketed them and said like 1 point for yes, 0 points for no, and 0.5 if like maybe we could get there. And we came in at like a really strong bronze initially. And then once we started, like Kristen was saying, once we started submitting things, that's when we were learning like, oh, this verification could work for like multiple standards. So it helped us kind of move our way up. And then as we ended up in the gold category. We definitely had to stretch a little to get to gold, and we had to do some new things. But it wasn't a huge lift for us.
And I
To,
think also getting to gold, it was a lot of the other initiatives that we were doing kind of on top of the EIC standards. So like Fill It Forward, we were able to get a couple extra points for our exemplary performance on that, which was cool to see that all of these other programs and initiatives that we've been working on in the past are coming together and they're actually creating a stronger impact for us on our carbon imprint and things like that. So it was cool to realize that those little things that we're doing and we thought like, oh, that's just like a normal sustainability thing. Everybody like that really kind of helped push us over that edge. And it's all of these little things that we're doing from the sustainability tour to doing back of house stock sorting. It's the little things that kind of add up and help you create that strong sustainability platform.
That's great. That's great. So thank you for those. I love that. How about, when you think about any type of newly created value or benefits that might have been the outcome of going through this process that, how does that, affect individuals or the organization Workday or George P. Johnson when you think about that? What's the outcome and results that may have come out of this?
yeah, I mean, I think looking at it from the Workday side and the GPJ side, like we're clearly seeing benefits both ways. On the Workday side, it has started to set a precedence for what the standard practice looks like for their larger portfolio of events. Workday Rising, which is the event that got certified here, is their largest, it's their flagship event, but it is starting to set the coursework for how they deliver events throughout their whole portfolio, which is great to see. And then on the GPJ side, it's really we're seeing the same thing. We are the first event with GPJ to go through this certification process, and we've been sharing the story within GPJ, and now our other clients are starting to hear about it, and they're starting to ping us saying like, oh, how do we do this? We want to, we also want to get on board. So it's helping us from like a business standpoint, as well as it's just helping us start to use our greater buying power as GPJ and start to influence change across the industry.
Definitely. And I also think, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I learned so much throughout this whole process. I feel like now I'm able to be a good resource for not only Workday, but also for our peers at GPJ. And we're able to actually share the value of the standards and be like, this is definitely worth it. I think that having this knowledge so early on in my career especially is going to be extremely beneficial for all events that I am a part of because it's always going to be something running in the back of my head and I'm always going to be trying to make suggestions based off of the standards because I've seen that it works and it's honestly really exciting to kind of introduce these ideas to other events and other programs that aren't maybe thinking about this quite yet. So it's exciting to see kind of the whole shift in thinking that's going around, especially in the industry, as things are becoming more sustainability focused.
Yeah, I love that. Just seeing, look, I think it can be intimidating at first for some companies. So it's great to hear your story and figuring out how can we make events better, and how can we introduce sustainability into the processes and the application of it. So I think it's a fantastic story to tell. Um, so let me ask one more question. What advice do you have for an event or an event industry supplier that may be looking to move towards sustainable event standards?
Stay calm. When you see the first list of the standards, don't freak out. As long as you're, pacing it out, you can break it up into chunks. It's well organized too. So as you go through each section of the standards, it's all kind of about the same thing. So you're not really reaching too far, but definitely start early. Like there's a lot of things that you need to document. So starting before the show to make sure that you're implementing the policies to get the points that you want. And also collaborating with your work streams as much as possible. Like we said, it's definitely, there are some things that you don't necessarily think you might be doing, kind of on like the energy efficiency ratings and things of that nature that are a little bit more nuanced and technical. Reaching out to those work streams that you're working with, and they may be like, oh, this is common standard for the industry already, so we are doing this, and then you can get the documentation from it, and then you learn more about the program as a whole, and I think it just benefits everything at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally agree. The list could be a bit much at first, but when you break it up into, more bite-sized pieces, it makes it much, much easier. And I think, for programs that have already been putting an intentional effort towards sustainability, they're likely already doing a lot of those things. So those are kind of, the low-hanging fruit that you can grab onto early. And then if you're not doing it, it's this great checklist of things to do in the future to start to build towards achieving each of those standards. Maybe you may not be ready to go through like the whole auditing process right now, but I think just at least getting the standards and reading through them and familiarizing yourself and thinking about how you're already doing some and thinking about which ones you want to focus on in the future, at least having that list is just a good starting point.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think that's a great topic to talk about is if you're not ready to get certified, at least use it as a checklist. Because in the end, it's going to make your events better. And that's what we're here to do, is to elevate event experiences.
100%.
So, great. Well, thank you both for taking a few minutes to chat about Workday Rising. Again, congratulations. And look forward to hearing about what you do next, and very exciting as we get a chance to talk to you. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It was great to talk to you.